Good afternoon, everyone. Selamat sore and boa tarde to our friends joining from Indonesia, Timor-Leste, and beyond. We're just waiting for a couple of minutes so that everybody can join us in the room, and then we'll start in a few minutes. Thank you. Hi everyone, we're about to start in just 1 minute, but please make sure you fill in the polls, the polling that is displayed or shown on your screen. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Chevening webinar today. Thank you so much for joining us today on Zoom, but as well as on our YouTube channel, Chevening Indonesia and Timor-Leste. So today's webinar is also being live streamed on our YouTube channel. So happy to see many of you here. I can see from in the chat room, we have participants coming from all over Indonesia, from Jayapura, from Lampung, from Jogja, Makassar, and as well as participants from Timor-Leste. So very happy to see you. And also from the quick poll that we just did before this, I can see that many of you are already starting your Chevening application for this year. So I hope this session today will help you to better prepare your applications, and particularly in writing your essay relevant to one of the Chevening theme for today, which is the career plan and impact. All right, so my name is Foni. I'm the Chevening Scholarship and Alumni Coordinator for Indonesia and Timor-Leste in the British Embassy in Jakarta. And I'm here with my colleagues. We have Harry Stockwell, who will join us later in the session, who is the head of Chevening program. Also, we have Raras, network and alumni officer, and Ita, the program assistants. I also have with me here Mbak Narita, my colleague from British Council, and she will deliver the IELTS session later today as well. So just a quick overview on what to expect during today's webinar is that first I will start with a Chevening presentation and then follow by an IELTS crash course, which will be delivered by Mak Narita. And after that, we will have the alumni sharing session. We will have two amazing alumni joining us today, Manadora from Timor-Leste and also Kak Aga from Indonesia. So they'll be sharing their Chevening journey, but as well as sharing their reflections on preparing their applications, particularly on the writing essays on the theme of career plan and impact. So please stay tuned and have your questions ready for the final session, which is the Q&A sessions. You can ask all of your questions later in the sessions to the alumni, to the Chevening team, Harry, and as well as to Mbak Narita from British Council. Okay, so let's start the Chevening presentation. And I have a quick video to introduce Chevening.
The prestige, the goal of the Chevening Scholarship is next to none, right? It's a world-class scholarship.
For me, it's more than a scholarship. It's endless opportunities.
A lot of cultures, a lot of different people from all across the world. I am learning here so much, like from different people. It's a diversity of cultures. Being able to network with such a powerful workforce of worldwide leaders.
You know, there are people that are from all walks of life, so it's nice to learn from them, grow.
Chevening means leadership. Chevening means impact.
We know that Chevening is not only talking about academia, it's talking about the future leaders.
So every time I meet fellow Cheveners, there's just this one thing in common. There's the passion, there's the grit and dedication to give back to their countries and their communities.
Chevening has been the greatest or the best opportunity I've ever had in my life.
One of the best experiences in the world.
One of most powerful achievements in my life, yes.
All right. So as you can see from the video, the Chevening scholars are very diverse. Yeah, the Chevening scholarship program is open to more than 160 countries around the world. So you will meet with people basically from all over the world, basically from most of the every country in the world. So the Chevening scholarship program is the flagship scholarship program from the British government. It is to provide you with an opportunity to study a master degree level at the UK, and we are open for any courses or any field of study. So there is no prioritization or any particular study course that you need to choose for Chevening. We are also open for any universities which are in the UK. So that means that any universities within the country, which include Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, are eligible to be chosen for the Chevening Scholarship Program. In the next slide, please, we can share that although the the Chevening Scholarship Program is fully funded by the British government. Oh, I think we lost the screen. It's coming back now. Yeah, I think this is the next screen, is just to show you that although the Chevening Scholarship Program is fully funded by the British government, we do have partnership with the local organization. And for Indonesia, we currently have 4 local partners, which are the Prudential Indonesia, the Indonesian Ministry of Digital and Communications, BP Indonesia, and as well as NAMA Foundation. The purpose of why we are partnering with such organization is to allow more opportunities for Indonesian students to study in the UK with the Chevening Scholarship. Now, also as you can see from the first video, the scholars are talking about future leaders, they are talking about leadership, they are talking about impact, and this is the main objective of the Chevening Scholarship Program, is that we are looking for people who will come back to their home countries and then make positive contributions, driving changes, making positive impact in their own field or in their own communities. So it is essential to demonstrate that you are the person that we should invest to, in terms of that you will be making or driving changes in a specific field in your home country. Now, the eligibility criteria for Chevening Scholarship programs are actually only these 4 points. Yeah, you only need to meet these 4 points to apply for the Chevening Scholarship program. So the first is you have to be one of the citizens of the eligible countries. Indonesia and Timor-Leste are obviously the eligible countries for Chevening. And then the second point is that you have to have minimum undergraduate degree, or for Indonesia, D4 or diploma that is equivalent to bachelor degrees is also acceptable. The third point is that you have to have at least minimum 2 years of work experience after completing your undergraduate degree. So this is a new requirement for this year as compared to the previous year, because this year you have to have your work experience completed after the completion of your undergraduate degree. Yeah. So any experiences that you have undertaken while you are studying bachelor degree or undergraduate degree are no longer eligible for Chevening for this year. But the Chevening work experience that is required by Chevening can include internship, part-time, volunteering, full-time, and also entrepreneurship experience. All of this experience can be combined or can be accumulated to a total of minimum 2 years, or a total of 2,800 hours, equivalent of 2 years work experience. And the fourth point, which is the most important part, and to meet with the main objective of the Chevening, is that you have to demonstrate that you are a future leaders by way of writing a Chevening essays, yeah, which I will talk a little bit more later during this presentation. So this means if you meet point 1, point 2, point 3, and point 4, you are already eligible to submit your application for Chevening. As you can see, within these points, we do not require any English proficiency certificates, such as IELTS or TOEFL or the like. Also, we do not require LOA, or Letter of Acceptance, from UK universities. So you don't need to have these 2 documents to apply for the Chevening scholarship programs. Also, we do not have any age limit, which means that anyone at any age. Could I please ask the participants to mute your mic, your audio, please? Thank you. So again, we don't have age limit for the application for Chevening. So anyone at any age, as long as you can meet the 3 first points and demonstrate that you are still have the capacity and the potential to lead or to make changes, to influence people, then you are still eligible for the Chevening application. In the next slide, the Chevening Scholarship Program is a fully funded scholarship from the British government, so everything is covered under this program. including obviously your tuition fee, your living allowance, your ticket to the UK, your visa, your medical insurance while you are studying in the UK, as well as any other expenses that needs to be covered, including arrival allowance or departure allowance, are all covered by the Chevening program. So basically, you don't need to spend any personal expenses to study in the UK under the Chevening scholarship. And there's a small asterisk there at the bottom of the screen. This is to show that this is especially only for MBA program, that Chevening does have a limit for the tuition fee. So if you are considering to study an MBA program, Chevening can only cover maximum 22,000 pounds sterling for the tuition fee only. Yeah. So that means that you will need to find any other sources of funding to cover the remaining costs for your tuition fee, because the MBA program in the UK obviously costs more. Most of them cost more than the 22,000 for the tuition fee. However, there could be other alternative source of funding, including from the university itself, that can cover the remaining costs. But again, please note that this cap or this limit only applies to an MBA program tuition fee only. Yeah. So if you are choosing or you are considering to study any other program other than MBA, such as the Master of Commerce, Master of Entrepreneurship, Master of Business, Master of Management, Master of Finance, and the like, we can still cover 100% of the tuition fee. There is no limit or there is no cap. Yeah. The next slide will show you that the Chevening Scholarship Program not only give you the opportunities to study in the UK in a high quality educations, but it also gives you many, many opportunities to enhance your networking skill and to make network or connections with fellow scholars from all over the world, fellow future leaders, but also with the British institutions or British organizations. During the 1 year that you are studying in the UK, the Chevening Secretariat will organize more than 60 events or activities that you can participate in order for you to meet people, to make connections, to gain experience in internship, and also to explore UK, to really embrace the UK culture. And all of the costs associated with you joining Chevening organized events or activities in the UK is also covered by Chevening. So there's no personal cost again at all that you would need to spend in order to join any of the Chevening activities while in the UK. The next slide, there's a very, very quick video, like a blink it and you miss it moment, is that currently we have 21 Chevening alumni who were or are currently head of states. And the picture that you see on screen now is our latest alumni, who is now becoming the Prime Minister of Namibia. That goes to show that the Chevening alumni are now in the most influential positions, yeah, and that the Chevening experience academically and non-academically helped them to launch their career. There are now currently more than 60,000 Chevening alumni across the world, around the world, and they are coming from very diverse background. Again, because the Chevening doesn't have any prioritization, yeah, in terms of the field of study that you need to undertake while for your master degree in the UK. The next slide will show you example, yeah, of the notable alumni from Indonesia. So, for example, as you can see on screen, the Indonesian current Minister for Home Affairs is our alumni. The current Indonesian ambassador to the UK is also our alumni. We have influential positions already in the governance, but also we do have influential people in the other sectors as well, such as in human rights sector, in the arts and journalism sectors, and the like. Also, from Timor-Leste, many alumni from Timor-Leste are already involved in a very, very strategic and influential positions in the government positions, yeah, but also again in other field of studies or other profession as well. As you can see, from small examples of the notable alumni here. The next is the timeline. So the Chevening scholarship application opens once a year, so only one time a year, and the timeline is usually relatively the same every year. So every year we will open in early August, and then we will close on early October. This year, the Chevening application window is about to close very soon, next week on the 7th of October. The next step after the closing of the application window is the sifting of all applications, which is done by the Independent Reading Committee in the UK. So this committee will read all applications, and then they will create a long list to be provided to us at the British Embassy in Jakarta, when we will then assess and select the shortlist. We will then invite the shortlist for an interview, which will be held between February and April next year. And after that, we will already have announcement of the successful applicants to become the Chevening awardees in June. The next step after that is the submission or the deadline for LOA. So as I mentioned earlier, to apply for Chevening scholarship, you do not need LOA at the time of your application. However, you will need to submit minimum one LOA by the deadline of mid-July next year, should you pass the selection stage. So my recommendation or our recommendation is for you to prepare this in parallel while you're waiting to have to be called for your interview or waiting for the announcement. So I would suggest that between now until the end of the application window, which is next Tuesday, you should focus on your Chevening essays, because the essays are basically the most determining factor to get you through to the second round or the final round, which is the interview stage. So you should focus all your effort and all your concentration to prepare the best essay that you can. But after you submit your applications on the 7th of October, then you can change your focus to get an LOA, minimum one LOA from one of the three choices that you have indicated in your application for Chevening. So from 7th of October until mid-July is quite a long time and a very sufficient time for you to obtain a minimum one LOA for the Chevening. Because if you do not meet the deadline in mid-July for an LOA, unfortunately, your scholarship will not be able to be deferred. So it means that you have to withdraw for the Chevening scholarship. So that's why it's very important for you to pay attention to the timeline as well, so that you'll be able to meet the deadline and then be confirmed as the Chevening scholarship awardee. And then afterwards, the scholars will start to depart to the UK between late September or early October in 2026 for the successful scholars. Right, now, I keep mentioning that the essays are the most important part of your application, right? And these are the 4 themes of the essays that you have to write as part of your Chevening applications. So there are leadership and influencing, networking and relationship building, study in the UK, and career plan. So this is again very important for you to prepare the best essay that you can. And for this year, there is an additional requirement which is different from previous years, is that for the 3rd essay and the 4th essay, study in the UK and career plan, you have to link or you have to make connection with one of the combinations of UK priority areas. As you can see at the left bottom of the slide, there are 4 points there listed as UK priorities areas. However, this does not mean that they are limiting the subjects or the field of study that you need to undertake for your master degree, because these areas are actually quite broad and it can link or it can be connected to various or very diverse number of courses available in the UK universities. You just need to be more specific in terms of why why your chosen course or your chosen universities in the UK and your career plan letter can be connected to one or combination of these priorities areas. So the next slides will give you a little bit of tips on how to write your essays. There is also another change for this year is that the word limit for its theme is now 300 words as opposed to 500 words last year. So why we are doing this is because we want you to be very, very specific, in highlighting the experience of your leadership, the experience of your influencing people, as well as your networking or your being part of community experience. So that's why the word limit for this year is fewer as compared to last year. You need to be very straightforward, and it's always recommended for you to use the STAR method, as you can see on screen, to guide you so that you can write very specific example. Of course, it is very, very challenging, to be very concise with all the experience that you have. It's part of the challenge. And I would encourage you to take the opportunity today, later, to really seek advice from the alumni that you will meet later during the alumni sharing session, as they can really help you to guide you, in terms of how to prepare your best essay for Chevening. But basically, what we are looking for when we read the essays is we want to get to know you, who you are, what is your passion, what have you been doing in terms of tackling a real problem in your workplace or in your community, and that you do have a vision on how you can want to tackle that problem later after getting your academic degree in the UK, and a clear roadmap on how you can achieve your goal. So it's very important to just be yourself. What's unique to you, what's problem that you think is very important to you is unique to you, because other people may not think that it is a main concern, but it is a main concern for you because you've been dealing with this topic, for example. So it's very important to show your authenticity in terms of writing your essay. The next slide is just to recap that, we do have another scheme for Indonesian citizens and also for Timorese, is that we have Chevening ASEAN Scholarship, which is eligible for ASEAN members starting last year. This just basically means that we do have additional quota, additional quota for Indonesia and Timor-Leste. There is no difference in terms of eligibility criteria and as well as in terms of the timeline. And there is, so you apply as per usual on the Chevening website. You don't need to choose which Chevening that I have to apply, because there will not be any option for you to choose Chevening ASEAN Scholarship. So you just apply for Chevening Scholarship on the website. And then later on, the selection panel will determine if you are a more suitable candidate for the Chevening ASEAN Scholarship. And this is basically when we look at your essays and when we can tell that if your work experience or any aspect of your career plan is related in the ASEAN context. And that's how we can make determination whether you are eligible for Chevening ASEAN Scholarship awardee. Another scheme that is available for Indonesian citizens is Chevening OCIS Fellowship. This is a fellowship, a research-based fellowship. Is for the fellows to undertake 6-month research project at OCIS, Oxford Center for Islamic Studies. And because the host institution is OCIS, obviously the research has to be related to Islamic studies topic. The eligibility criteria for this fellowship is different from the Chevening Scholarship. So please visit our website, as you can see on screen, to find out more detailed information about the eligibility criteria for these fellowships. The next slide is to recap about the Chevening Scholarship. Is open for any courses and any universities in the UK we are providing opportunities for you to study a master degree level at UK. And for this year, the application window will be closed soon on next Tuesday, on 7th of October. We would encourage you to submit your application in time, yeah? So do not wait until very last minute to submit your applications. And last but not least is to share information with you to please follow our social media as well. This is where you can get a lot of information and more updates information about the Chevening scholarship program, as well as I would encourage you to follow the Chevening Alumni Association of Indonesia Instagram account. They do have a mentoring program for candidates applying for Chevening, which open every year at the same time of the application window. So for this year, it's probably already too late. So you will need to keep an eye for when they are opening their registration for mentoring program next year, yeah, under their flagship program, which is called Chef Buddy. If you are able to get into their mentoring program, is very, very useful for you because they do provide mentoring in terms of reviewing your essays and giving you feedbacks on how to better improve your essays throughout until the interview stage, where they will prepare you for the one-on-one interview later on. Also, we have a Chevening YouTube channel, as you can see here, and you can view any recordings of our previous webinars in this YouTube channel. All right, I think that's it for my presentation today. And again, please, if you have any questions regarding the Chevening program, please keep your questions ready to be asked later, and we will answer it as best as we can during the Q&A session. Yeah, I think we should move on now first to the next session, which is the IELTS crash course to be delivered by my colleague, Mak Narita. Mak Narita, are you here?
Hello, Mbak. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Mak Narita. Please take it away.
Thank you very much, Mbak. So, hello everyone. Good afternoon, I think. So, I would like to thank Chevening first for having this session, and I do hope that it's going to be very useful for you. My session will particularly about learning IELTS in brief. I know this is probably not the right timing to learn IELTS, but yeah, although Chevening does not really specify IELTS as part of the scholarship application, but this can be part of your success as well, because if you're going to study in the UK, you might need IELTS for your daily activities, particularly your academic activities, okay? So I would like to start my presentation for now. So this is basically a simple and short information on IELTS. As you know, if you want to do a workshop, it's going to be a more in-depth one, but this one can also be very useful for you because we will share some tips and strategies. So IELTS is basically an international English language testing system, and it's proudly co-owned by these three institutions, which is British Council, IDP, and also Cambridge English. So it's designed to assess the English language ability of people who intend to study, work, or live. And of course, in the UK, IELTS could be one of your success factors because UK is using English as the language of communication. And we have our testing partners here in the cities, if you might have a quick screenshot, because we're doing testing in the city. So it's going to be very useful. This is actually in Indonesia cities, okay? You can contact us, or maybe you can book the test through British Council and you can select the cities for the testing venues. And the reasons for success about IELTS, it's actually recognized globally in these English-speaking countries, of course, in the UK. And the test format consists of 4 skills tests. So it's quite comprehensive because IELTS measure productive skills and also receptive skills, which means you will be measured based on your listening, reading, and then writing, and then your speaking. Okay. It uses international English. So if you think that IELTS is only accepts UK, British English maybe, or American English, that's not true, because basically any formal international English would be acceptable. And we're doing video call speaking test actually for the speaking test. This is quite useful because it's actually based on or made of from the past COVID era when you could not see anyone in person. So the video call speaking test is now continued, and it's proven to be quite useful. And then we still have both modules, that's what we call it, format, IELTS on paper and on computer. So basically these are all acceptable, and the scoring is also the same. It's the questions are the same, so it's up to you if you would like to take the IELTS on paper or on computer. But of course, on computer is always the most recent one. I mean, if you're quite catch up with technology, then IELTS on computer might be useful for you. Okay. So we have frequent sessions, and IELTS on computer has faster results, actually 1 to 5 days. So basically, if you test now, and then you can wait for the results within 24 hours. For paper days, it still needs to wait for 13 days, okay? We also have a wide range of comprehensive preparation resources from the British Council, curated by our experts, okay? One-day booking is also available in Indonesia. If you would like to take the test tomorrow, for example, you're still able to book before 10 a.m. today. So it's going to be in the morning, because we would need to make sure that the seats are still available, okay? One skill retake is also available if you find out that one of your skills score is not meeting the minimum requirement, then you might consider to retake this one skill only. But please do check with institutions, particularly in the UK, whether they're accepting the IELTS 1 skill retake, okay? And we have access arrangements available for special needs. I will have this on my last slides later, so you can check on whether it's going to be a useful information for you. So which IELTS test is the best for me? If you would like to go to the university in the UK, of course, it's going to be the IELTS Academic, okay? Because it's used as an for entry requirements to universities or colleges, professional registration, as well as recruitment. So it's basically within the academic context. It assesses ability to study or train at undergraduate or postgraduate level. Meanwhile, if you're going for migration, vocational, secondary education, you can take the general training module, okay? But please check with your receiving organization or the institution you're applying to on which module is the best for you to take, okay? So test format consists of 4 skills: listening, reading, writing, and also speaking. Time allowed, if you can see here, 30 minutes for listening, 60 for reading, 60 for writing, and then around 11 to 14 minutes for speaking, okay? So there's total time around 2 hours and 44 minutes, including 10 minutes transfer time, because for IELTS on paper, you will need to have this particular transfer time. This is the scaling for IELTS score. So basically, it depends on the institution you're applying to, because, because they will specifically state that how many would you need for the IELTS, the minimum score. For example, if you want to go to the university in the UK, and then you would need to have, let's say, 6.5 or 7, okay? So you can target your score based on that minimum requirements. But if you can learn more from IELTS, particularly from the British Council, why not get more? Because sometimes you will be satisfied to get 6.5, but if you can get 7.5, for example, that's such an achievement. So IELTS on computer, that's what we call it. You will be seeing something like this. This is just to let you know on the display that you're going to see, okay? There's a clock on top of your screen, and then there's a navigation bar, and there are screen settings that you can set for your convenience. And if you would like to leave your desk, the invigilator will ask you to hide the tab because that's quite necessary. And then note paper will be provided because you would need to have some sort of a marks before you would like to check for your answers. And now it's about listening in particular, okay? So the timing for listening section will be about 30 minutes, and then there will be 4 sections with 1 mark per question. The total will be 40 marks. And each session is played only once. So for example, if you missed some parts of the recordings, you cannot just raise your hand and say, oh, could you please repeat that again? That's not possible because the recording is played only once and it includes a range of accents. So you might need to try and practice listening for many accents, as many as possible, because the way they convey the ideas is what which you need to hear, because you will need to answer based on the recordings, okay? Listening test consists of 4 sections. So you can hear 2 speakers conversation, and then 1 speaker talk or speech on social needs, conversation also, and talk or lecture on topic of general interest. So make sure you know and you can identify, for example, between 2 speakers, because sometimes you have to wait until the first speaker finish asking, and then the second speaker will answer. If you cannot identify this, it will be difficult for you to be ready to get the answer that you need, okay? So this kind of listening test needs practice. We have range of practices here that we might want to share with you later, okay? And I will also share my email as well, if possible, if you would like to have some sort of questions. Features in the computer-delivered IELTS listening. So this one, you will be seeing change in the volume with the volume bar. You can do this actually from the top right of your screen. And then you need to familiarize yourself between these types of questions, okay? Type the answer in the gap, which means you need to find the gap and type in. Identify diagram label. So there could be an A, B, C, D characters, and you need to drag it into a diagram, something like that. That one is the click and drag, okay? So identifying diagram label is to make sure that you can put a title on a diagram, okay? So that you know what the diagram is about. Also, there could be a move to answer into the gap on a diagram. So it's more like, a puzzling process, but this should be done while you're listening to the audio. You should master these skills because you have to do 2 things at the same time, okay? So you should listen and you should also predict on what kind of answers would that be. And you'll have 2 minutes to check on your answers. So you can read back later on to make sure that you're providing the correct answer already, okay? So for listening, headphones will be provided. and then you should test the headset first, adjust volume on the screen. So if you cannot hear anything from the first time, you should notify the invigilators immediately. And this is important. Listen and read instructions carefully because you will work based on the instructions. You will be given time before and after the question. So for example, I'll be doing some sort of a simulation only for 5 questions later, but you'll know about what does this means, okay? Because you will need to prepare. What would you hear and what would you want to answer? Note the keywords in the questions because this is important. Think about what type answers are needed. For example, if they're asking about time, so you can focus more on listening to the speaker talking about timing, or maybe if it's seasons, what kind of seasons would he want or she wants to say. Okay, no penalties for incorrect answers, so we usually say just guess. If you feel like I think I've missed that previous audio, you can just guess. At least make sure that you're ready for the next questions. Otherwise, it will be very messy and you will not be able to concentrate and focus for the next questions, okay? Synonyms is important. It's not always the same between what you listen and what's in the sheet or in the computer, in the questions. So make sure you master synonyms, you know how to say things differently so that you know how to answer these questions. This is simulations that I'm talking about. So there are 5 questions here. If you see, the instruction is written in bold. Write no more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. So make sure you only write 2 words maximum for the answers of these questions, because anything more than 2 words will not be considered as correct, okay? So I'll start the listening now. I hope you can hear because we've tested this before.
Section 2. You will hear the education officer of a dinosaur museum giving information to some teachers who are planning a school visit. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15.
Pauses here is normal. You would need to see and have a look on the questions.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Hello, and thank you for asking me to your teachers' meeting to talk about the Dinosaur Museum and to tell you a bit about what you can do with your students there. Well, let me give you some of the basic information first. In regard to opening hours, we're open every day of the week from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. except on Mondays, when we close at 1:30 p.m. And in fact, the only day in the year when we're closed is on the 25th of December. You can book a guided tour for your school group any time that we're open. If you bring a school group to the museum, when you arrive, we ask you to remain with your group in the car park. One or more of the tour guides will welcome you there and brief you about what the tour will be about. We do this there because our entrance is quite small and we really haven't got much room for briefing groups in the exhibition area. As far as the amount of time you'll need goes, if you bring a school group, you should plan on allowing a minimum of 90 minutes for the visit. This allows 15 minutes to get on and off the coach, 45 minutes for the guided tour, and 30 minutes for after-tour activities. If you're going to have lunch at the museum, you will of course have to allow more time. There are 2 cafes in the museum with seating for 80 people. If you want to eat there, you'll need to reserve some seating, as they can get quite crowded at lunchtime. Then outside the museum at the back there are tables, and students can bring their own lunch and eat it there in the open air.
So I hope you can get all correct answers. I'll be revealing the correct answers here. So please pay attention to the chronology, because sometimes they mention few things in an order, but you would need to identify which one is actually the correct answer. So for example, for number 15, she also mentioned about cafe, okay? But actually what she meant was tables. This means, number 15 means if you answer some tables, that would be correct. Tables is also correct. So both are correct. But if you answer table, it would be incorrect because the question says there are. So it's very basic, very specific, but I do hope that you can master this sooner or later by practicing. So strategies for the listening, you need to identify the situation. It's about dinosaur museum, so it's about a visit. Predict the answers. Is it about timing? Is it about day? Or is it about season? Or is it noun or would that be verb? Get the instructions right, 2 words, 3 words, not more than 2 words. What does it say actually, the instruction? And then anticipate next questions once you've answered the previous questions, because you would need to go along with the recordings. There will be there are pauses, but it's in the beginning of the listening audio, okay? There will be no pauses during the listening. Predict, prepare, anticipate, and then you need to survey and skim the questions or table or pictures, and practice anticipating the next question while listening, writing the answer to the previous one. So that's why multitasking is quite important here. Do not over worry about the correct spelling or grammar at this stage. You can probably have you just type in, but then later you can look back and revise. But please don't forget to look back and revise, okay? Don't just leave it. So, summary of advice for listening. Practice, and then practice a lot, actually. There's a understanding why the correct answers are correct and why the wrong answers are wrong, etc. And then for pre-listening, read the questions carefully to understand what you have to do. And then establish context, visualize the speaker. What is she talking about? Why is she explaining such information? Read the questions. What information do you need? Who might say it? And what form will it take? Okay. And consider synonyms that might be used in the recording. These are just the advice, okay? While listening, be alert to a question that's been answered and when the next answer is coming. But be careful about negations, reactions. For example, I will be going there at on Friday. Oh, wait, not Friday, but Monday. It's called negation. So you don't answer Friday because actually the correct answer is Monday. So you need to listen carefully. Anticipate the next question. Again, anticipate and anticipate. Check your answers, okay? If you took the test on paper, make sure you transfer your answers to the answer sheet. And be careful about grammar and spelling because no mercy for typos, okay? If there are typos, it will be incorrect. You can practice listening from these kinds of activities, listening to radio, watching televisions, watching Netflix, listening to podcasts, listening to the audio for lectures, for example, and TED Talks. So now we go to reading quite swiftly. The timing is 60 minutes, consists of 40 items and 3 sections. Again, 1 mark for each correct answer. So if you don't know the answer, or maybe you missed the answer, or maybe when the time is up, you can just guess. But I strongly encourage you not to leave it blank. Incorrect grammar and spelling will be penalized, of course. And there will be reading sections. Both has 3 sections for academic and general training, but long text, you'll find long text for academic and more shorter one for general training. In the context of academic, you would need to practice reading long textbooks, journals, magazines, and newspaper, because it would be relevant to your study. You would need to read journals, okay? You would need to develop a thesis, for example. So you need to have more practice within academic context. This is the features. I'm just going to go pretty quick in here. We will be seeing 2 columns. The left one is for the reading, and then the right one would be for the questions. Make sure you familiarize yourself. I'll be sharing with you some links for you to practice maybe, and then you can try mastering reading skills from here. These are the reading skills that we would like you to know. So actually, these are the ones that we always told our IELTS test takers to master. Surveying, skimming, scanning, close reading, inferring meaning, deducing meaning. So these are the ones, the things that we would like to develop or practice while you are doing your reading test, because sometimes you have to look quickly, okay? Just to get an overview. It's called surveying. But then you would need to quickly reading to get the general understanding, which means you have to read the whole paragraph, but quickly. If scanning, it's more like a searching a text to find the sections where the information you need will be located. So you will be like a scanner, you will be searching for a specific information. It's very different from skimming. As well with close reading. Close reading means you read carefully to understand what is it exactly about. Inferring meaning, deducing meaning is also the same. So paying attention to the language and the way it's presented and expressed, that's inferring meaning. And deducing is reading a text and guessing the meaning, the words or phrases from the surrounding context and information given. So you should always know what's the meaning of one word. But you can guess, because that's not your objective. Your objective is to answer the questions correctly. So you can prepare skimming, scanning, and then paying attention to titles, subtitles, keywords, and topic sentences for the reading. And you can start, because you can do this through your daily activities. If you have reading as a habit, you can try starting now. So for example, what kind of information that you can get within a glance, or what information would you need in particular? Would it be about timing, or would it be about a particular answer? And you can also do intensive reading. This is also quite useful for IELTS reading test. This is just the example, and it's everyone's favorite, true, false, not given. So if you would like to try, we have these 3 questions, okay? The reading is on the left side and the questions are on the right side. Crime involving credit card is increasing in Europe. So if you quickly have a look on the first paragraph, it's actually talking about chip and pin, okay? But it also says about crime, but it doesn't say exactly crime. It says card fraud. Okay, so that's what we meant by synonym, because you would not be seeing the exact same word. This is where you need to analyze and practice. So the first one is true, because it says increasing. It's similar to cut the rising tide of payment card fraud. The number 2, when you use chip and pin, you need to sign for your purchase, okay? It says here in paragraph 2, involves entering your PIN into a keypad just as you would at a cash machine, eliminating the need for your signature on a receipt. You need to sign for your purchase, but it says eliminating the need for your signature. It's not exactly the same you need to sign, but it says eliminating and it has the same meaning. So number 2 is false because you don't need to sign. It's been eliminated. The verification has been eliminated. And then number 3, if you look closely at the paragraph 3, it's a very short paragraph. If you forget your PIN, the bank can provide a new one. It's indeed saying something about PIN, but it doesn't say anything about bank providing a new one. So it's a not given. So this is just a quick example of the reading test. Maybe if you would like to have a look and take a screenshot, because it says you have 10 seconds. But actually we have this on our IELTS academic webinars, and we also do some workshops. Maybe you can join later on. I can give you the schedules and also the information on this. Yeah, this is an this is a practice question about Mary Curry. So you need to familiarize yourself with these kinds of readings, and then you would need to define which one is the topic sentence and which one is the keyword. Topic sentence is something that's more like a theme, okay? But keywords is something like a singular word telling exactly about noun or maybe about some sort of information. So from here, if you can identify these, and then you will be able to answer IELTS test questions. I'll be skipping this because I don't have much time. We haven't touched the writing and reading, speaking and writing. So these, I can give you the link to these kinds of activities if you would like to try, and then you would be able to familiarize yourself. Time management, yes, because you need to read the questions quite slowly and underline the keywords in the questions. You need to look for paraphrasing or synonyms in the text. You can underline, and you will be having a note paper. So you can do like some sort of a notes taking to make sure that you know that this paraphrase, this synonyms would fit into the answers, okay? Eventually do this at speed without underlining. So when you get used to this, you can do this without underlining, which means you can do it automatically, and then you can find out about the answers. Don't panic if you don't finish the exam, but try to guess again and do the questions you're good at first, if necessary. Establishing a basic understanding, you need to know the context. Use titles, pictures to guess what you're going to read about, and then spend 2 minutes skimming the text to get a vague understanding of what is where in the text. So you will be given many paragraphs. You need to skim. For example, you need to read fast on what paragraph 1 is about, or it's about the life. Paragraph number 2, it's about the work. Paragraph number 3, it's about an autobiography, for example. And then you identify topic sentences and key ideas. Practicing at home can increase this skill. Check your spellings, follow instructions carefully. If your the question asks you to complete the note and the correct answer is evening, you can just write evening as your answer, because if you write in the evening, it would be incorrect. Attempt all questions, check your answers, synonyms. Again, it's always important in the reading test. Don't spend too long on one passage. Don't try and read every word. You are reading for a purpose. You're answering questions, not understanding the reading. Don't worry if you don't know anything about the subject. All the answers can be found in the text. Okay, this is something about NASA achievement. I don't know anything about NASA. It will be supplied there. Don't worry if there's a word that you do not understand. You may not need to use it. You can just guess based on the context. Quickly about writing. So you will be given two tasks. Task 1, a minimum of 150 words with 20 minutes recommended time. Task 2, 250 words recommended time, 40 minutes. You must answer both questions and you must fulfill all of these requirements. If you answer less than 150 for task 1, you will be given low score. Same with task 2. So these are the assessments, task achievements and response, cohesions and coherence, how the logic fills in, flowing in all the way through your writings. Lexical resources, are you using the same vocabulary all the time, all the way from the beginning until the end? Grammatical range and accuracy, if the question is about past time, will you be answering it using present time, for example? And it's 4 marks averaged. This is the feature. I can skip this. It's basically the same. And these are the types of charts that you can find during the writing. So you can see, you can guess from here, for example, on the left side, it says the change that took place in 3 different areas of crime in Newport City Center from 2003 until 2012. Since this is past time, so make sure you can develop your writings using past tense. You would need to be able to compare between these 3: burglary, car theft, and robbery. If you see the graphic here, what would you say about these 3 crime rates? Okay, would there be an increase, or would there be a decrease, or is it stable? You need to supply all of the information on your writing, because it's going to be a part of the markings. The same with the bar chart here on the left side, as on the right side, okay? Because you need to be able to compare what happened with VHS sales and DVD sales. While VHS sales was going down, the DVD sales were increasing during these periods from 2002 until 2011, and so on. And you will also be given things like this. Make sure you know how to say, let's say 20%. What's the other words of 20%? 1/5. So you should know the vocabulary. It's about reading the data, but it's not possible to practice all of these skills. And you can also be instructed to answer this on the left side. So you need to compare a situation of a place within different time range. So Grange Park in 1920, what's the difference with the Grange Park today? So you need to explain how's the position of stage for musicians now, and what about the Rose Garden in 1920? Was it there already, or was there any change? And then on the right side, this is a combination between bar chart and table. Make sure you know how to read the bar chart. Make sure you know how to read or explain the percentage change on the table below, because this is also important as a supplementary to your bar chart information. The tips: read questions carefully, analyze the tasks, spend time, take time to plan, and provide overview at first, and then on the next paragraph you can describe the information, okay? And also you can compare and contrast information. These are the things to remember. Basically, if you read the question carefully, you can answer that. And you need to know how to define between discussions, opinion, and both, and so on. Sorry, I'm going to be quite fast because we are running out of time. Overview of speaking section. This will be between 11 to 14 minutes, and then it's going to be recorded, so don't worry. If you think that my examiner is not listening to me, it's recorded. So he or she can go back to the recording and have a listen to that for a few times to make sure that they can give the correct markings, okay? 3 sections for speaking, part 1, part 2, and part 3. Make sure you know how to answer the examiner if they ask about familiar topics. Usually it's about the current weather or the condition or maybe your work. And then part 2, you need to develop a long term, which means you need to speak until the examiner stops you. Part 3 is more like a discussion, two-way conversation, and there you will be given topics here, so you would need to pay attention to the examiner. You will be expected to communicate opinions, speak at length, organize your ideas, express and justify opinions, analyze, discuss, and speculate about issues. This is just a sample. So you will be given these questions and you would need to answer. You need to answer at length. So you don't just say, how often do you watch television? I just watch twice a week, and then you stop. The examiner will develop more so that he can hear you speak more, and then he can give you markings. Okay, so you have to practice based on these questions on how to supply for answers from your examiners. These are the samples: where, why, what. So you should be able to develop all of these. You can speak based on these questions. This is also part of the questions. How has traffic changed? What do you think would happen? How will form of transport change in the next 10 years? And you need to explain about this. Relax, speak clearly, and then be prepared to talk about you and yourself and your life. If you can't tell, if you're uncomfortable to tell about your life experience, for example, you can lie, because you would not be marked based on your truthfulness. It's about your speaking ability. It's about your language ability. Give opinions on topics relevant to you and your background. That should be usually easier. And answer the questions as fully as you can. Don't talk too fast. Don't insert your first language. Occasional mistakes are fine. Don't prepare speeches, because our examiners are well trained, so they know when you memorize answers. Don't worry about occasional hesitations. A little bit of and should be fine. And don't worry if the examiner interrupts. It means that he or she would need to hear more from you. So that's why he interrupts and he tried to ask other things. So for IELTS on computer, as I told you, you can now register 1 day before and get the results 1 day after. So it's a very short journey for those of you, particularly if you would like to apply for the universities in the UK. These are the preparation materials that we have. So you can scan quickly on the barcode to know more about our IELTS Ready Premium. Now the features are enhanced because we have the AI feedback mock test. So you can try the regular mock test on the left side, but on the right side, you can try the mini mock and then you can practice. They will give you the indicative band score to make sure that you know where's your exact position if you're taking the IELTS test. This is the light version of IELTS Ready Premium. If you can get premium by registering for the British Council, if you would like to try the free version, you can try this one, okay? You can start by scanning the barcode on the right side. IELTS 1 skill retake is the one that I've explained to you already. So you can take this within 60 days of your original testing. And this is what we're doing now. We're doing IELTS Open Day in Indonesia within October and November. You can scan for schedule and registration from the right side. And these are the dates of IELTS Open Day. So for those of you who resides in Indonesia, you can mark your calendar and visit our partners here because they will be delivering a more in-depth workshops and also IELTS Ready Premium demonstration. So it's going to be very useful for those of you who would like to take the IELTS test. And access arrangement, we have some experiences of testing for disabled or specific needs. So these are our cases from time to time, and we accommodate all of this. So don't worry, okay? So it's going to be something that you need to report first when you're registering for the test. So we can prepare in advance for you. This is
Okay,
important
madam.
information. Bring the original valid identification because you will not be allowed to take the test if you bring the wrong one. Thank you very much. I think I'll be giving the spotlight back to Mbak Foni. Mbak Foni?
Thank you so much, Mbak Narita. It's a very detailed and very useful session, I'm sure, for all the participants here. And as mentioned, we do not require IELTS for Chevening application. However, you do need IELTS later, for you to be able to get LOA from universities. So just before we move on to the next agenda, which is the most anticipated alumni sharing sessions, I think we can answer just one question here specifically for you, Mbak Narita, before I can let you go. And the question is from Mbak Maria Stella. The question is this: if I have taken the IELTS test a year ago, should I retake it again with the mentioned list of partners?
Okay. So the IELTS test is valid for 2 years. Okay. So so if you take the test a year ago, it should have still valid for now. But please be mindful on the let's say submission process, because at the time you submit for your application, the IELTS result should still be valid. So for if you're not sure, you can just retake the test, okay, to make sure that within the range of 2 years, you're still able to submit a valid information. I think that's what you meant. I hope I can answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mbak Narita. I cannot see any more questions related to the IELTS. However, please feel free, guys, if you would like to ask any more questions, please drop it in the chat and Mbak Narita perhaps can answer it later during the final question and answer session. Okay, now thank you, Mbak Narita, I can let you go now, and we're moving on now to the next agenda, the alumni sharing sessions with Raras. Take it away, Raras.
Hello, hi everyone. Good afternoon from Jakarta. I know it's been a little bit rainy in Jakarta. I hope it's sunshine and rainbows in your area. So yeah, I just want to say thank you so much, Mbak Narita, the representative from the British Council IELTS team, for that really useful crash course on IELTS preparation. Again, just want to remind everyone once again that Chevening itself does not require an IELTS score, but some of your chosen UK universities might. So the tips we've just heard will definitely help when you're preparing your applications. Now, let's bring the focus back to today's main theme, which is the mastering the Chevening essay on career plan and impact. This is one of the most important parts of your application because it's where you show not only your vision for your future career, but also how you plan to create impact in your country and community after your studies in the UK. So to help us understand this better, we'll hear directly from the Chevening alumni who have successfully gone through this process. and can share how they approach their essays and how Chevening has shaped their professional journey. Our first speaker is Auxilia Dora Villanova dos Santos from Timor-Leste. Manadora is a seasoned professional with more than 15 years of experience in project and program management, focusing on climate change, disaster risk reduction, sustainable development, and health system strengthening. Manadora is currently the project manager for the Pacific Green Transformation Project at UNDP Timor-Leste, where she leads initiatives in solar electrification and energy access for off-grid communities and critical infrastructure. Manadora is our Chevening Scholar from the 2023-2024 cohort. So she's recently returned from her year in the UK, and she holds an MSc in Disaster Management and Sustainable Development from Northumbria University. Manadora, are you here with us?
I'm Bararas. I'm here.
Yes, I'm
Hello.
trying to. Hello. Wait, let me.
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes. Wait, let
Can
me.
you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you, but I can't
Okay.
see you. Wait, let me just change your name here as it doesn't show. We can't see you, Manadora.
I have turned on my video.
Manadora, we can't really
Yes.
see you.
I
Your
don't know.
camera is off.
How
But we can hear you just
do I
fine.
do this? How do I do this?
Are you using your laptop? Perhaps there's like a switch button that turn off your camera and on.
Yeah, I did. I did. Start video. Let me just check. Okay. And then start again. Let's see. Just video. Use video. No, it's not coming. Sorry. This is really bad.
It's okay, Manadora. I do have your presentation, and on your presentation, I know there's your pictures. Perhaps everyone can kind of imagine what Manadora looks like through the presentation. Meanwhile, we're trying to make sure the technical issues on the camera can be fixed. Are you happy doing your presentation now, Manadora?
No, it's fine with me.
Okay, let me share your presentation now. So, Manadora, please take it away.
Okay. Okay. Again, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, colleagues from Indonesia and Timor-Leste. My name is Auxilia dos Santos. I'm the Chevening Scholar cohort 2023-2024, taking disaster management and sustainable development at Northumbria University. So today, before I start my presentation, let me express my gratitude to the UK government for this life-changing experience through Chevening Scholarship, especially colleagues in the British Embassy in Jakarta, Mbararas, Mbafuni, and Ita, and the others. Thank you so much for your support at the initial of the stage of my Chevening journey. Okay, so this presentation will be a 15 minutes presentation given to me. I will just go quickly presenting to you the journey I have been through, the Chevening scholarship. The first one, I will go through the before applying for Chevening, my time in the UK, and after returning home, and how Chevening shaped my path, and reflection, a little bit reflections on my career plan related to the essay. Move on. So for me, I want to start by saying that Chevening is like a call to me. So before applying to Chevening, I have had 16 years of professional experiences in different capacity and different organizations. As you can see here, I've worked for Red Cross Timor-Leste, United Nations, and like USAID, NGOs. So I have also, prior to applying and got the scholarship, I had a post as a program analyst at UNDP. And I also had an experience of one rejection, or I didn't pass the interview in 2020. And my second application went through, so I became the 2023-2024 cohort. So I have a picture here. This is just a picture on where I'm going to talk about. So basically, this is a picture of the flash floods, or known as Easter floods, happened in Timor-Leste back in April 5th, 2021. Move on, ma'am. Okay, let me just quickly bring you through why I chose Chevening. First of all, I think this is the map you can see. And for me, Chevening is not just gives you academic excellence or giving you opportunity to excel academically, but it gives you opportunity to excel as a person, to grow as a person, and holistically. And I would also say that Chevening has as you know, it has a very good global networks and cultural diversity. So by being in the UK itself, it's already a life-changing journey. Thirdly, I think as a Timorese, I thought of being an ambassador of my country to the UK. So that means I was representing my country. I had the responsibility to bring back something to my country. So and UK, as you can see, UK is a hub, a global hub for learning and experiences where it gives opportunity for you to experience different cultures, values, and this is like, for me, I said that chevening or being in the UK is something that I can ask for more, like something like that's it, like that's what I have been looking for. So I got everything in one place. Next one. Can you move on, Mana? Okay. So so as you know, the time, sorry, can you go back? Hello, can you go back to the previous slide?
Is it this one? Yeah, is it this one, the my time in the UK?
Yeah.
Or
this one? Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah. So secondly, UK. So as you know, it's just 1 year of studying, of being in the UK. It's like that 1 year. So I call it as a year of growth and opportunities. Why? First of all, it was like a dream come true. So I've been dreaming to go to UK. I've been trying, and so by getting this opportunity of applying to Chevening scholarship, I was able to realize that dream. So when I was in the UK, I think first and foremost that it was like my first time to be in the European country, and to live there. The first time I experienced very a lot of challenges in terms of weathers, in terms of dealing with different people, different type of peoples, and etc. So for me, it was a lesson for me to start open, like to be open to learnings, to ask for help, to seek help from people, for me to be able to adjust myself to this new kind of environment. Secondly, of course, being there, built a lot of networks. So like Chevening events, there are 2 Chevening events, and the welcoming events and the farewell events, where you can meet all of Cheveners from all over the UK, different universities. So those are an opportunity for me to learn and to get to know people. And also, I also learned to take opportunity to be part of conferences outside my universities, to get to know more people in the area I studied. So aside from that, I think being in the UK, you have to be like, or being away from family, from your home country, you have to be stable physically, emotionally, spiritually, and of course, you have to also give back socially. So for me, at the time, I took the opportunity for me to maintain physically fit. I joined gym membership so that I can have opportunity to exercise and do some sports. And secondly, I give back to the community through community engagement activities such as volunteering with Kids Kabi. It's an NGO that provides after school activities to the most vulnerable communities and in the northern side of England, where I lived, which is Newcastle city. And the followed by this, I think spiritual and emotional stability is very important. So I also joined chaplaincy group. This is basically, it's available, I think, in all universities. They offer it for free. Students who are in the UK, they can come together and share their spiritual lives and share their experiences, so that we can support make a connections and like kind of like social supports. And also during my time in the UK, I also took time to travel within the UK and also the Europe. So it is important when you are there, please maximize this unique opportunity, especially for the Timor-Leste passport holders. There is no visa required, so we're very lucky among the others. We do not require any visa to enter any of the European countries. So please take that opportunity. Next one. So again, all in all, I please use your time. Like I use my time in 1 year wisely, because I basically, when the moment I passed the scholarship, I taught myself to be focused, because for me it was basically a journey, personal and professional growth. So I was not going there um, to instill more knowledge academically only, but I wanted to be also growth as a person and professionally. I mean, I want to make a link where I'm gonna be in the future after my studies. So that's motivated me during my stay in the UK. And of course, I mentioned already balancing studies, networking, health, and volunteering. And also, I know like you've been hearing about this, that Chevening promotes networking. So we're talking about networking that you establish while you are in the UK. However, you might have had networks or groups of people that in your area of studies back home, which you need to still be in touch with. So, for example, in my case, I was still getting in touch with these people in my networks back home to support me. They're supporting me during my data collections, during in the preparation for my dissertation. So I had like qualitative type of interviews or data collection, where I engage like around 10 of them, like people from communities, community leaders, NGOs, UN. So it was really good to keep that kind of networks working or active while you are in the UK. So I think just quickly, it's like making every moment count for a lifetime of impact. That's the message. So I want to show this picture, the pictures I have here. The picture at the bottom is the picture I had with other Chevening scholars in Newcastle's. And the one on top is the farewell events we had before we left UK. Next. So my career journey after returning home. So first and foremost, I mean, you might have some ambitions and some dreams of coming back and getting a job that you have dreamed of or you have planned for, but most of the time in the reality you might not get that. How that means that's why I put embrace the reality, which means you have to adjust yourself back to the society, to the place or to the community where you were. So in a sense that what you have learned back in the UK can be adjusted given the situation or the context of your country. So so for me, this the career or the learning I had from the UK has enhanced my professional readiness and active engagement. So I used to work, as I mentioned earlier, for few years, for 16 years before I went to UK. I went with the Chevening scholarship. But then when I came back, I saw myself differently in a way that you see, and like I see myself like to be more like I told myself to be more focused because I studied something that's really specific, which is like disaster management and sustainable development, which is basically cross-cutting in somehow. So I think those are giving those kind of self-value and confidence give me like motivation to move on to seek for jobs that are basically addressing my goals or my vision. And also I think as I mentioned earlier that it's also giving me like whatever I have learned, it has given me more improvement. Like it has improved a lot in terms of time management. So I basically it has being in the UK by myself for a year and able to manage my time well, it has also impacted me personally to be in the field, like in any field, like to face this challenges that's there in my society, in my country. So and next one I want to highlight here this about accountability. So as a scholar, as a Chevening scholar, for me, Chevening is an investment to my country through me. So something that's given to my country, but it's used me. I'm as an instrument. So I'm hereby accountable to expand my knowledge to serve my community. So that's something I wanted to just share here. So in a way, I also support the, inspiring others to pursue Chevening because it is like I want this can be I mean, people like you who are listening right now, I think please motivate yourselves, keep trying, and never give up, you know. And I mentioned again, like Manarara already mentioned my current role right now. I'm the National Project Manager for Pacific Youth Transformation Project, a project that is being implemented in 4 Pacific countries. And in Timor-Leste, it's a very complex project, but it's very rewarding. So I think this is a credit also goes to Chevening for this, like giving me the opportunity to focus, to understand how this kind of subject matters is really really beneficial or really significant to bring back to the country to apply in this context in my country. So
Manadora,
this is sorry.
excuse me, we have 3 minutes left.
Okay, yeah, I'm almost finished. Move on. Mana, can you move on? Yeah. So my just to share you my career vision plan. I think this is just quick. I said, like, I have a long-standing passion to serve the community. So that's what's driven me to apply for this course for Chevening and to focus on in disaster risk reduction and sustainable development. And it was also relevant to my my experience, my working experiences. And also, I just mentioned, I saw the pictures earlier. There was a flood in my country, like consecutively in 2020, 2021, which motivate, strengthen my motivation to study this area. They move on. Move on, please. Yeah. So this was mentioned. This part is like, I mean, this is some of the techniques for your preparation for the interviews. I think Mba Foni already mentioned earlier. So I don't want to repeat this, but this is important. Like STAR method is something that's really, really practical to break down your answers so that you yourself understand what you're talking about. So and then you make a case to the interviews. Okay. So I just want to share like only a few tips. So it is important for everyone like who's applying for Chevening to start early. So don't rush in your application. Be ready. Like for example, if you're listening to me right now, to the speakers right now in this webinar, please, I mean, take any opportunities to listen to get feedback or to find information, to seek information. Don't be shy, and of course, you have to be ready. But I mean, personally, you need to be ready and don't rush in your application. Don't submit it in the last minute. For me, also get feedback. Getting feedback is really important. So you can have like a mock test or simulation with your colleagues or anyone you trusted, your family members who can support you with your preparation, especially for your interview. And of course for your essay as well. Proofread carefully. So this is basically for your essays. It's important to proofread, to keep going back to it, have it like internalize it, like as mentioned earlier, that something that you're passionate about. No one can question more. Like if you know what you wanna get, then go for it, and then I mean, be again, be authentic, as mentioned earlier, that it's very important to get things out from your heart, like what you're really passionate about, what you see as a gap that you want to fill, you want the benefits, you want an impact for yourselves, not only for yourself, but for your country later on. So, and the fourth point here, I put like monitor emails diligently for interview invitations. This is basically, I want to put this because I had this as a lessons learned from my my first application where I failed to check my emails regularly. After application, I've closed my personal emails. I don't check it until last minute. I got a call. Then I have to go to the interview, but then I didn't register online. So this is something like a negligence from my side, which I want to share for your reference. And again, timing is crucial. So plan your schedule accordingly, especially through this journey. So your journey is starting. So until you get the offer from both Chevening and also the schools. I mentioned earlier by Foni, you need to get LOA, or at least one LOA, letter of agreement, from one of the universities you applied for. So in my case, I was rushing through IELTS. IELTS was my last stage of like a decision maker for me because I didn't get what do you call that, unconditional offer. So I was only left with conditional offer because my IELTS didn't reach the threshold. And then I went and then I did my, my not online, the electronic based IELTS. I think it was really helpful because it was really quick. The result turned out very quickly in just less than a week. So and then once I saw my IELTS, I reached the threshold and I passed the threshold actually. Then I was confident that I'm going, like I'm really going. I'm gonna go to UK. So that's just a sharing. Anyway, thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak. Obrigada Barak, everyone. If you need more information, please feel free to contact me in this email. I also have my LinkedIn with my name. I forgot to put it here, but I mean, really thank you everyone. Thank you, British Embassy, for organizing this webinar.
Thank you so much, Manadora. Let's give a round of applause virtually to Manadora for sharing her journey from before applying for Chevening and then during your time in the UK. I saw all the pictures. It looks so lovely. Although we couldn't see Manadora on video today on the webinar, but we can kind of see, her experience while in the UK. So thank you, Manadora. Please stay tuned as we still have some questions later on that a Q&A session. However, we're now going to move on to the next speaker before the Q&A session. And now we have another alumni coming from Indonesia. Halo Kak Aga. Tes suara. Halo Kak Aga. I think you're still on mute. Yeah, you're still on mute. Can you just want to check your voice? Still on mute, but while we wait for Kak Aga to fix the audio, I just want to give you a little bit of introduction about who Kak Aga is. So Kak Aga is our Chevening alumni from Indonesia from the 2016-2017 cohort. Aga or Angga Prima Kusuma is a treasury professional with over 12 years of international experience across financial institutions, not just Indonesia, but also in Malaysia and the US. And Aga is currently serving as the Vice President for Treasury FX Dealer at Bank CIMB Niaga in Jakarta, where he specializes in foreign exchange, money markets, and corporate treasury solutions. Kak Aga is a Chevening CIMB Niaga scholar from the 2016-2017 cohort and holds an MSc in Banking and Financial Services from the University of Glasgow. Kak Aga, are you here with us?
Ya, udah bisa ya. Can you hear my voice?
Hi, Kak Aga. We can hear you, but just your voice is just very far away.
Okay. Hi everyone.
It's still very far away, Kak Aga.
Okay. Let me double check with my.
Okay, how about now? Is it much better?
Way better.
Okay, cool. So hi everyone, selamat sore semuanya. So my name is Aga. So I'm a Chevening alumni 2016 and 17. Yeah, almost 10 years, yeah. And I'm currently working in Bank CIMB Niaga for foreign exchange dealer. Yeah, I think that's the intro. Yeah.
Saras, you're on mute.
Sorry, yes, Kak Aga, we actually have a presentation and also a YouTube clip of Kak Aga. Perhaps some scholarship hunters here familiar with your face, as Kak Aga is actually quite like the first few Cheveners who put his content on social media, on YouTube, actually talking about Chevening tips back in the days. So actually, I'm just trying to find the link, but perhaps Kaga, could you share a little bit to us on your journey from before you apply for Chevening?
Okay, sure. Actually, before I'm applying Chevening, I've been in banking industry for almost 7 years. So the requirement is around 2 or 3 years work experience, but then I have more than 5 years work of experience. And then my background was finance. So I was studying in Malaysia for my undergraduate degree in University Technology Petronas. So actually, I'm kind of in line between my previous education and then what I am currently doing, and then like what I want to study in the UK. So I think in terms of the SI, for me it's easy to connect the dot, because like what I said just now, my previous education, my current job, and my future career aspiration is in line, everything. But then the things that I want to share here is maybe only one thing is just be original, like be yourself. That's the things that somehow a lot of friends or audience always ask, what is the best angle that we have to put into the SI? And then my only answer would be original, because somehow people are just too people are overthinking, right? So overthinkers, like, I want to make as the best as I could, but then like it's just too much. So maybe that's the main highlight of our today's sharing. I do really believe that all of you are meet the requirement, but then from all thousand applicants, you have to be a standout. And how to be standout? Of course, you have to be original, be yourself. That's maybe the point that I want to highlight for today. And then yes, I do have the YouTube channel. Like 7 years ago, I make a vlog, a simple vlog, like the tips for SI, and then how to answer the Chevening interview. And then I also upload some of the activity when I was students in back then in the UK. Yeah, I think that's the small token for the UK embassy to spread the information about Chevening. Yeah, maybe you can Google on your
Jadi
YouTube
sebenarnya kalian
channel. Yeah, so you can play maybe for example.
Jadi sebenarnya kalian udah paham nggak sih kayak kalian akan ngapain setelah kalian belajar? Halo semuanya, gua Aga. Di video kali ini gua akan sharing bagaimana menjawab pertanyaan yang keempat untuk SI Future Career di Chevening Application. Ada 3 hal yang kalian perlu highlight di sini. Yang pertama adalah kalian udah harus dan wajib tahu apa yang akan kalian lakukan abis sekolah. Jadi immediate, ketika udah nyampe Indonesia itu kalian mau ngapain? Kalian harus highlight di sini. Misalnya waktu itu gue bilang, karena gue kan belajarnya banking dan gue waktu dulu kerjanya di perbankan. Jadi gue bilang di sini bahwa nanti gue setelah beres kuliah gue akan kembali ke banking industry, gue akan kerja lagi di perbankan. Sehingga itu adalah menjadi sebuah kepastian bahwa oke, anak ini ntar nggak nganggur, karena banyak banget yang nganggur setelah S2, dalam artian mereka pilih-pilih kerja dan masih bingung dan sebagainya. Mungkin hal tersebut yang komite pengen make sure bahwa ini anak udah jelas nih setelah beres sekolah pasti berkontribusi seperti itu. Sekarang yang kedua, kalian di-expect akan memiliki planning yang panjang. Planning yang panjang itu bisa di-segregate jadi 2. Waktu itu gue bilang kayak medium plan. Medium plan itu dalam waktu 5 tahun. Jadi within 5 years, gue akan misalnya melakukan atau menjadi ada di posisi apa. Kalau itu yang berhubungan dengan posisi. Tapi make sure bahwa apa yang kalian state itu visible. Jadi nggak tiba-tiba sekarang kalian manajer dan nanti jadi CEO dalam waktu 5 tahun itu kan agak sedikit kurang visible ya. Jadi make sure bahwa range itu still visible, kalian bisa achieve kayak gitu. Itu yang kedua untuk yang medium plan. Yang ketiga yang perlu di-highlight adalah long term goals-nya dan bagaimana planning kalian itu ada hubungannya dengan prioritas UK dan Indonesia. Misalnya, kalian bisa bilang bahwa oke, dalam waktu 10 years down the line, or more than 10 years, kalian misalnya memiliki aspirasi untuk sebuah organisasi NGO di bidang A misalnya. Karena bidang A itu adalah bidang krusial yang kerjasama antara Indonesia dengan UK. Jadi PR-nya untuk yang menjawab yang ketiga ini adalah kalian harus research sebenarnya kontribusi atau bidang-bidang apa aja sih yang kalian bisa berkontribusi untuk UK dan Indonesia. Kalau misalnya kalian masih bingung, itu kan biasanya kedua negara itu memiliki bilateral agreement dan sebagainya. Jadi kalian harus mencari tahu dan harus cari part apa nih yang kalian bisa berkontribusi di bidang tersebut. Jadi jangan sampai mengada-ngada dan asal-asalan aja gitu. Jadi kalian bisa researching dulu dan nanti mengaitkan dengan bidang yang kalian miliki. Nanti yang menjadi bingung adalah kalau misalnya ternyata tidak ada bidang tersebut. Menurut hemat gua, kalau misalkan ternyata nggak ada yang benar-benar spesifik yang lu lagi kerjain, kalian bisa bilang bahwa oh ini dengan gua memiliki plan seperti ini bisa meningkatkan misalnya sedikit dari awareness untuk orang-orang Indonesia kayak gitu. Memang hal itu mungkin sedikit, tapi menurut saya itu jauh lebih powerful daripada kalian mengada-ngada. Oke, mungkin itu aja 3 hal yang perlu di-highlight di esai untuk future career ini. Kalau misalnya video ini bermanfaat, kalian bisa again share lagi dengan teman-teman kalian. Dan jangan lupa subscribe sama klik lonceng supaya kalian dapat notifikasi terbaru. Oke, bye-bye.
Yeah, I think that was my young age. Okay, so Mbak Raras, maybe you also can share my one slide of today's presentation. And feel free if any of you want to ask some question on the comment. Yeah. So I would like to highlight the pro tips for crafting an essay for Chevening. Actually, this one will be applicable to any question for the Chevening essay or yeah, what are the question are asking into the essay. So the first thing first supposed to be you have to be yourself, be you. So somehow there are so many questions asking to me regarding to what extent that I have to elaborate the essays. For instance, here about the career or future aspiration. So my 3 highlight will be you have to show one specific stories. The specific story here is something like you can bring into the table the uniqueness of yourself. So instead of saying you want to change the world, just simply make it like I want to change a part of the job that I'm currently doing. For example, I'm currently working in the banking industry, and then I just say that I'm dealing with the foreign exchange transaction, and then there is one client, for instance, they need to have the hedging. So the hedging is for managing the risk, for instance. So by studying, let's say, master in banking, so it will enrich our knowledge in terms of providing the best services to the clients, for instance. So I think that's more specific instead of you want to change the world. So I think you need to have one single story that you want to bring to the table that show your uniqueness. So after you are deciding what is the main story that you want to put in the essay, then you have to construct the essay. Like previous speakers mentioned about the STAR principle, I think this strategy is really powerful in constructing the essay. So for example, the first ask is the situation. So you can share your current situation in terms of the job. However, for instance, you are a fresh graduate, but then you have the experience, for instance, become the teaching assistants and so on. I think that kind of things as well. You can show it into the essays. And then what are the tasks that you are currently doing? For instance, you are dealing with the clients or the NGO dealing with the governments, for instance. So in doing the task, of course, there will be a lot of challenges, right? So you can take some of the challenges that you can show the attitude or the leadership skills that you are currently having, for instance. So this action that you are currently doing with the counterparties, it's showing that, for instance, you have the capacity to have a good communication, and then you have the capacity to lead the team, to lead the project, and as well as maybe you can show that you are a very persistent person. So from that task and action, you can show that personality that you can bring into the table. And then last but not least, you have to mention about the result. Even though the small amount of the result, it can be so powerful, because like people want to see, okay, you have the challenges, and then you can solve that challenge, and then you have that kind of attitude or attributes, and then this is the result. For instance, you help to improve certain amount of revenue, for instance, or problem solver, and you can show that because of your contribution, you can solve one out of maybe 1,000 of the problem, for instance. So that's from star principle that you can construct. And then last but not least is be specific and measurable. Like why I mentioned this, because somehow when I try to give the feedback from someone who are close to me, maybe who want to be to apply for Chevening, they are just too general in constructing the SI. So maybe you can be more specific on the story or the activity that you want to tell to the audience, and then please make it measurable, because imagine that the readers are someone who have no clue on your field. So that's why you need to be more specific, and also more measurable in terms of the quantity or the quality of the job that you are currently doing. So I think that's the three basic and powerful pro tips for the Chevening SI. It can be the careers, or it can be like what you gonna do after the Chevening journey ends, for instance. So I think this is the summary for my today's sharing session.
Thank you so much, Kak Aga, for sharing. I know it's a very sweet, simple, but it's actually like right to the point. I know that there are a lot of people already filling in the polls earlier that we have earlier. Kind of just want to share the results before we move on to the next session, which is the Q&A session. So from the polls to our audience for today, there are actually more than, I think, almost 300 people joining in, come and go. But most of them are currently finalizing their Chevening application for this year. And just a little reminder that the Chevening scholarship application is going to close on next Tuesday, 7th of October 2025. But don't think that it's midnight in your area. It's actually 12 o'clock in the UK. So it's around 6 or 7 p.m. in Indonesia, and around 8 p.m., 9 p.m. in Timor-Leste time, or in eastern of Indonesia time. So yeah, as you can see on the result of the poll, currently finalizing the Chevening application. Some have applied the scholarship before, and this is their time of coming back even stronger. So yeah, thank you so much for alumni Manadora and Kak Aga for sharing your journey today. Without further ado, actually, we have a lot of questions already on the chat box. So I just want to welcome Manadora and Kak Aga again, and also welcoming Harry, who is the head of Chevening program for Indonesia and Timor-Leste, to moderate the Q&A session. Harry, please take it away.
Thank you. I didn't realize you had to unmute me. This is a level of control that it is new. Clearly, I normally talk too much that Raras has developed new powers to control whether I could speak or not. So hello, everybody. As Raras said, I'm Harry, and I'm the head of the Chevening program for Indonesia and Timor-Leste. We're going to kick off with our Q&A session because, as Raras just said, that most of you on the call today are currently finalizing your applications or preparing yourself to apply. We're going to focus the questions that we talk about together with the alumni on essays. So that's the theme for today's session, is mastering the Chevening essay. So if you've got other questions about technicalities, references, what's eligible, what's not eligible, please type those in the chat bar, and Vonnie, Raras, and Ita will be quickly responding. But we're going to focus on some questions about particularly how to master the essay. And I'll start with one that's actually in the chat bar already, which is a really good question, which is, what would you recommend? A recent experience that seems like it has minimal impact, or a story from 5 years ago that has bigger impact? So maybe I'll start. Aga, you were talking a bit about this just at the end of your presentation. So what do you feel? How do you feel that you tackled the successful essay? Do you think people should go for something that is more recent, or something that happened longer ago but has a bigger, more demonstrable impact?
Okay, it's a very good question indeed. From my perspective, I think which story that can bring more value into the SI. For instance, your recent you mentioned that the recent experience not much having the impact, for instance, but then your back then stories can tell a lot more powerful. For instance, I think for me myself, I will prefer the long time ago stories in which I can bring a lot of value or attributes into the essays. But then maybe if you want to mix it, for instance, you want to have two stories in one essay, I think that maybe your last choices, because for me, just focus on one story instead of like two stories in one essay. So I think I will choose the one that having more impact or more values that we can show to the reader.
Great, thank you. I definitely agree with the advice there on not trying to cram too many different examples into your essay, especially seeing as this year the essays are shorter than they would have been when both you were applying. That we really want to know the context. We really need to understand the steps that you took to lead something or network or relationship build, and it's really helpful to have those extra words, rather than thinking, I need to show these two things, but then we don't quite feel enough what your impact was. Dora, any views on this one?
Thank you so much. This is a very pertinent question. I think it goes back to the person. First of all, you need to focus. So choose either one, recent or past stories, which one you feel really related. Something that can make you talk unstoppable, something that's driven you more and more. So you choose, you know better what you have experienced, and you know how to basically bring people to the table to understand what stories you want to, like, what's the meaning of those stories, how do you want to bring the stories into reality, something like that. I mean, it's your decisions either way. I think I don't choose like recent or past, but which way that make impact, will bring impact to you in your studies, through your studies back to your country. That's it. Thank you.
Great. Both really good bits of advice. I'd also ask the question, like, are you sure that this more recent example doesn't have impact? Like, it might be that when you actually think about it, you might have recent examples that also have impact, rather than thinking it either has to be this example or that example. I think a kind of connected question that, Aga, you were talking about specific and small wins. I think one of the concerns that we get a lot from candidates or people think about is, does my impact either now or in my career plan feel too small? Or on the other hand, do I sound too ambitious? Do I sound like I'm going to change the world? So I think it was really helpful what you were saying about be specific. And even if they're small wins, that can be really powerful. But when you were thinking about your essay, how did you deal with that challenge of thinking that either your current examples up to this point felt too small, or that your career plan at this stage of your career didn't feel broad enough? Do you think that's something people should be worried about and trying to tackle in their essay? Or is that just what it's okay to be like when you're at this stage?
Can I answer this?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So just like I mentioned earlier, I think there's nothing to worry about. It's just like the message is be authentic, be yourself. I think even though you only have, so we mentioned about experiences, not necessarily you have to be paid like jobs to be counted as a number of experiences to be applied, to be eligible to get the scholarship, to apply for the Chevening scholarship. Even volunteering work. So everything matters. Anything you do currently or previously, it's all counted as long as it's part. Like once you already pass this process, like you're gonna like you feel like everything you have invested in your life, even those small things, it's paid off because you I mean, everyone starts with zero, like we have nothing and then we grow slowly. So I think Chevening also giving opportunity for people like that. That's why we have like, there are certain criteria that are like meetable, but like can be met by many people. Like that's why we have a lot of applicants. But then I think don't worry. Just the message is don't worry about it. As long as you know what you're doing, like the story you want to, convey, and the career, the path you wanna go pursue in the future. I mean, it goes back to yourselves. You feel it, you can feel it. You can ask people to verify it. You want verification. If you are not confident, you can ask friends. You can ask friends for like whatever you write. You ask your colleagues, especially those who know you. You just be authentic. Just be honest with what you're doing. Sometimes we're making up, like we're trying to, small things we did, but the impact is big. So you need to like analyze it in that way to make sure that like to hit the button, like to make sure that people will be attracted or to your answers. Anyway, yeah, I
Great.
hope this.
No, all very inspiring. I agree with you that for me, I think the vision can be big while what you actually did can be smaller, if that makes sense. That I'd much rather hear an applicant who themselves came up with a small idea, they saw a problem, they drove some change themselves, but that change was small, rather than somebody who writes an essay saying that within their workplace they were asked to lead on this big project by somebody else and this is what they did and it had a big impact. It's that kind of like reading that somebody themselves identified a problem around them, and even if it was a small problem and even if it was a small impact, they had that big vision to make that change. And that's the thing that when I'm looking at the essays, I think, yes, that's the kind of person that we want to meet, we want to interview, we want to see how they're going to use this use this vision to make change in their broader career. Ada, any views on whether people should be worried about things being too small? Examples.
I think both of you already elaborate, so I think I agree with that. Maybe we can explain for the next question instead.
Great, thank you. There's some questions in the chat about AI, and Vonnie and Raris has very helpfully pointed to the official rules, which are, just to clarify from everyone, that you can't use AI tools to write your essay. But I thought I'd take that to be a bit more broader to one of the things that I sometimes, when I use AI, I find those answers are very generic, and that it takes from the internet what the internet thinks that a Chevening essay should look like. And one of the things you were saying, Anka, was about being authentic and not following that idea of what a generic Chevening essay looked like. So when you were writing your essays, how did you do that thing of being authentic, not being generic? I think there's a difficult balance for people between, we don't want gimmicky essays, we don't want people who start with something that's going to shock us. That kind of, some people's advice might be, write the weirdest essay ever so that it sticks in people's mind. But we're not looking for that for the sake of it. So how do you stop being generic? How do you stand out? And how did you overcome that challenge when you were writing your essays? We start with Aga first.
Okay. Well, during my time, there wasn't any AI yet. So absolutely what I have to do is what on my ideas, and then I put it into the SI. But I think the answer is very simple. If you think that that's your work that's original from you, I think you don't have to worry, like, okay, I want to check it from the AI tool, what kind of AI tools that you are using to check, blah blah blah. I think you don't have to worry, guys, if you're really writing it by yourself, even though, for instance, the tools said, oh, this is AI generated, but then later on, all the experts who are reading the essay is just reading a lot of essays, right? So they will know actually this is original or AI generated. I truly believe on that one. So first, do not worry, and then the second one, I think what I did last time is I just worried to choose which story that I want to tell, because, for instance, we have a lot of stories, right? So instead of worrying whether this one will be detected by the AI tools, I think you have to worry which story that you want to elaborate on your essay. I think that more important that you are doing the priority. For instance, you have 4 stories, and then for 4 essays, and then you choose one story for the whole essays, for instance, that you want to connect the dot each of the essay. I think that's up to your strategy. But I think the bottom line is you need to worry to present the story that you want to highlight in that essay. I think that's the most important one. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Dora, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I think the same thing as what Aga said. Basically, during my time, I didn't know AI. There was an AI, so it was basically something that's really original. I think this is something that we want to encourage everyone. Please, I mean, when you see the questions from for the essays, I suggest not to go straight to the online system and answer it. Just download it or copy paste it somewhere and keep, like, every day you read it, you understand the questions and answer with your own language, and have somebody proofread it. I think that way will make it really original. And then, I mean, don't be so vague, especially like speaking without like any roots or any baseline. For example, it's very important to do research. It's kind of like a small research or small mini paper that you're doing, presenting to the Chevening, the assessors, the evaluators. So it's very, very important for you to really make your own line of stories, tell them about what you are and what you want to achieve. I think it's just like, it's something like, if you really want to have passion on this, you want to go for it, you will be able to write, I know. And then Chevening will read that. Chevening will automatically, like the people who are doing the evaluation will automatically understand. That's what I can feel. Like I can feel like when I applied, I know I will pass, because I'm confident that what I have written, it's basically what I want it to be. Like what I know. Like if I don't pass, that's it. It was my last chance. Like it was really my last chance, and I got it. But otherwise, I didn't want to pursue again. So because for me, it's enough. So it was really. I think it goes back to the person again. Like do reflections. If you really have passion, you be true to yourselves and write them down. And of course, there is a way. There is always a way. If you have the willingness, there is always a way.
Great, thank you. I like that idea, and it's something that I found helpful when applying for things of do the research, write down all your drafts, think about what you want to say, think about your best examples, and then put it to another side and have all of that in your head and just write it as if you're talking to somebody. Write it in plain language, as if we're sitting down having a conversation and you're telling me about your past. What leadership have you done? About your past, what networking and relationship have you done? Why do you want to go and study in the UK? What do you want to study? And how are you going to use those things? And what's your career plan to make a change in the future? And if you've done all that prep, done all that research, considered all that, then you should be in the position that you can just write it out or explain it. Imagine you're explaining it in a conversation with a friend of why do you think you can do this, and then write that out, and that will probably be a lot more authentic than if you draft and have a little bit more sort of life to it. And I think as well, one of the things that I feel is that we're looking for a candidate and an essay that links together. And when we're talking about things in the past, should you use an older example, small examples, big examples, then each essay should stand by itself, but also we're looking for one essay that links together. So it might be that you have a really relevant past example, which is great, which is 5 years ago for your leadership. But then it might be a better idea to use a more current example, more recent example for networking and relationship building. And maybe it's an example more recently, which links more to what you want to study, what your future career plan is. And altogether, we see you as a real person that has got ideas, got things they want to change, experienced things that have made them want to study this, study that, change this, change that. And that's why as well, there's some questions in the chat. People who said like have concerns that maybe the subject they want to study now is different to what they studied for their bachelor's degree, or they've worked in a different industry and now they're changing. Those are the things that really actually show us that you're somebody who knows what they want to do and has a plan and is going with that plan, because maybe you have changed subjects, you have changed your industry, and explain that to us and explain how that is brought you on the journey to be able to be applying for Chevening now. Okay, thank you both very much. I think we've already run out of time by quite a lot, but we've still got over 100 people on the call. That shows how helpful all of this information hopefully is to everybody. So thank you very much, Dora. Thank you, Aga. Thank you for all of your help. And hopefully everyone joining today can be inspired by your success in getting the Chevening Scholarship and your stories. So thank you. And in the last few minutes, I will just try and wrap up the session a little bit. So thank you all very much for joining. I think it's really helpful for us to see that the majority of you joining today are in that later stage of applying for Chevening and have made that decision to apply, which is great. Please, as Rara says, remember that you've got a week left. Keep up that momentum, get those applications in. I know sometimes that the numbers, the stories about Chevening can feel really daunting. The surest way to not get Chevening is to stop writing your essay and not apply. So by being here, by listening, by trying to improve, by trying to hear from other people's success, you're already investing the time into your essay, and you're the kind of candidate that we want to be applying for Chevening. So please, the 130 or so people on the call today, please all submit your applications in the next week, and really look forward to hearing your stories, and hopefully we'll get to meet some of you on the call here today. So I think this is our last webinar after 2 months. So for those of you who've joined more than one, then hope this isn't a sad end to you having having a Chevening essay to write. But good luck, everybody, and thank you very much for joining the call today. Raras, I don't know if you've got want to come back in for any wrapping up at the end.
Sure, thank you. So yeah, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, especially for those who already joining in our webinar series since August. We did 4 webinars actually. So we did webinar for tackling tackling the theme of leadership and influencing, relationship building and networking, choosing course, and also now is the career plan and impact. So yeah, this is the last webinar for this year's application period. Don't forget that the application is going to close on 7th of October, which is next Tuesday. Sorry, for some reason, some coffee beans, like not coffee beans. Right. So yeah, thank you so much, Manadora and Kak Aga, for helping us to promote your story and also promoting Chevening. Again, there are lots of questions, especially on the technical questions. I would recommend you to use the feature chatbot, which is on our website, www.chevening.org. There's Chevening Charlie, which is a chatbot that you can just use asking any questions, some technical details, etc. You can find it on website as well. And maybe just a little bit tips, which is very important. There are already thousands and thousands of applicants coming from across the globe who already submitted their Chevening essays or Chevening application. So make sure you don't forget to click submit on your application way before the deadline, which is 7th of October. So hopefully you can just submit after this webinar. And yeah, thank you again for always tuning in with us. There will still be lots of webinars, Instagram lives coming from our Chevening alumni community. You can follow them at ID Chevening Alumni. Again, you can follow Aga Prima on YouTube as well. Subscribe. And thank you, Manadora and Kak Aga, and thank you, Harry, Mbak Foni, Mbak Puspita, and also Mbak Narita, who are already joining in us today as speakers. All right, so thank you again, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Good luck.
Thank you.